taking time out to say a special good morning to our listeners and viewers. Welcome to today's edition of To The Point. And of course, it's the day of the week that we do entertain various departments within the RGPF. So let me say good morning, especially those of you via social media platforms, whether it's a Facebook page, YouTube channels. Good morning and welcome once again. I'm your host, GT. And of course, representing this morning, we have, of course, Constable Lawrence Honoré. Hope I got the name right.
Yes.
Good morning to you, sir. Welcome.
Good morning, President. Good morning. And President, good morning to the viewing and listening public.
Certainly welcome also. And of course, our conversation this morning is timely, I would say.
Yes.
We're talking about, the port procedures and security at the port. And of course, around this time of the year, I think it's important that folks understand the procedures and so forth, what takes place at the port. Not only the procedures, but there are various security levels that they need to pay attention to also. So we will kick off with that conversation this morning. Now, someone may say, well, the port is a bit of an isolated area, if you want to put it in that particular way.
Yeah, to some degree.
Why is it important that security and safety plays a pivotal part in its operations?
Well, pleasant good morning again, and just let me say season's greetings to all. We are actually now in the Christmas season. Yeah, well, to some degree, the port is an isolated area. We tend to refer to it more as a restricted area.
Restricted.
Yeah, because access to that area is granted based on certain requirements, and that is done for safety and security reasons. And when we talk of safety, we mean the protection of persons and property, and security is the mechanism that we have in place that affords us to establish and maintain that safe space. And that is very important because for one of the more important things is that the port is basically the lifeline of our state. Yes. Generates a huge percentage of the revenue that we get in our country, that sustains our economy, and that is something that we have to safeguard dearly. And then apart from that, the services that we provide means a lot to our public, because persons depend on the goods and so on that enters the state that we can utilize for our well-being.
Yes.
So that too is a very important thing.
I still want to ask a question, when we speak of the security aspect of it, the attention that is put into it, why is it at that level that is at?
Well, just to go back a bit, the port falls under what you call the ISPS code, which is the International Ship and Port Facility Security Code. Now, safety and security is something that has been long-standing, as far as back as 1914. Okay. They first really gave it a lot of consideration when the Titanic sank. Okay, and that's when they really started taking a look at safety at sea. So, the IMO, which is the International Maritime Organization, they had a convention which they named SOLAS, Safety of Life at Sea, which gave guidelines for vessels plying the sea to put certain measures in place for the safety of the persons and so on. But as time evolved, things have changed and more things came into being, and more threats came about, and so they had to evolve that convention agreement. And so the true nature of SOLAS came into being in 1974.
Yeah.
And then again it evolved, and in 2001 when we had the World Trade Center issue, and that took effect in 2004, and that's where we got the ISPS code coming into effect, and that now governs the way we relate, ports and ships relate in international operations.
So does that go across to all ports of entries? Is it that similar security procedure?
The procedure basically applies to international shipping.
Yes.
And so the vessels and so that you may travel between Carriacou and Trinidad and so on, they do not necessarily apply to most of those restrictions.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want us to expand a wee bit on safety at the port. This is also very important,
yes,
especially for individuals who conduct their everyday business at the port. Mm-hmm. Whether it's someone just going there for to take care of their personal business, whatever they need to do in terms of clearing goods and so forth. Talk to me about the safety at the port and how important it is for individuals to follow safety procedures and so forth that is written out for them or maybe told to them in terms of to carry out at the port.
Okay. The motto at the port is safety first.
Yes.
That is how much priority we give to it. And as time go on, we reevaluate the safety mechanism and make changes if necessary, put other things in place, maybe things that wasn't present. We add it to the things that we do. And that is necessary because we want to ensure that every person that uses the port facility, at the end of it, that they leave safe.
Yes. And
whatever it is that exists within the establishment, being it equipment, persons, cargo, whether it's building or anything of that nature, that it is safe for use and that all of these things are protected. And the ships that are calling, we also have a responsibility to ensure that when they come to the port that they remain safe.
Okay.
Yes, because that in itself has great implications.
So true. I mean, it has implications where, for other international countries, could leave a bad state on Grenada.
Yeah.
If for some reason the security level and safety level is not at a particular standard.
Yes, because under the ISPS code, they give you mandatory rules that you ought to follow, and which meets a minimum required standard. And that must be implemented at the port. What happens is that under the code, the ports and so are inspected from time to time to make sure that they meet these requirements. And they're recertified, I think, on an annual basis. And once they meet those requirements, they recertify them on an annual basis. If they fail, then the implication is that international ships may not be granted permission to come to that port.
Question I want to ask: the responsibility for security and safety at the port, is it left up to the RGPF?
Well, we have what you call a port facility security officer,
yes,
which is directly responsible for the implementation and maintenance of the security procedures and so on. However, we have to be in accordance with what is established in the ISPS code. So he has that responsibility to ensure that these things are happening.
Okay, understandable. So, from time to time, there's always the rules and regulations plays an important part in terms of individual use the port.
Yes.
And from time to time, these rules and regulations, they have amended, they get, of course, different things are taken care of in terms of these things. Talk to me about, the rules, regulations at the port in terms, especially when it comes to conducting business and so forth, that individuals should follow.
Okay. Well, in recent times, we have added what you would refer to as PPE equipment.
Yes.
For persons who may not understand, PPE means personal protective equipment.
Okay.
And it falls under a broad category because there are many things that can be used for that purpose.
Yeah.
But it's based on the nature of your experience of what you're going to do. So in the case of the port, what we have implemented recently is the reflective vest,
yes,
which makes you highly visible while you're on the port compound. And based on the color, in some instances, we can know what is your purpose.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So that is one thing. And we have erected a lot of signs that we didn't have before. And that gives you direction and information that will help to ease your process as you operate on the port. We have markings and so on that gives you an indication of which area that you will traverse for your safety and all those things. So So we want to encourage persons when they come to the port, that to pay attention to the signs and markings and so on that are established, both for persons and for vehicles.
All right. You speak of the PPE equipment that is offered, and you reference to color. So it's different for an individual who, as you mentioned, who comes maybe to conduct their personal business in terms of clearing a barrel, come to customs to do whatever they come to do, clear a car, and they're totally different from the other individuals who use the port maybe for work purposes.
Well, the Port Authority have established a color code for some entities that operate within the port confines, but in most cases you would see on the vest it tells you who that person is. So you will see the customs, you will see police, you will see GPA, meaning the Grenada Ports Authority staff. And for persons who coming to do their personal business, they're given vests, and if you see at the back of it, it'll state visitor. So you know that person is just here to conduct business and to continue.
And the use of these PPE equipment is now mandatory?
Yes, it is mandatory. Yes.
It's mandatory.
Yes.
All right, great. To know that. Let's talk about the procedures, the rules for entering and conducting the business at the port in terms of the overall operations at the port.
Okay. Well, something that has been, most people think it is recent, but it has been established probably about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
And but we really understand the need for the safety and so on at the port, and we want to let persons know that dress code is an established part of the process.
Okay.
So that when you're coming to the port, we expect that you will dress modestly. Nothing that will create a distraction or nothing that is too revealing.
I guess that is counted for the females, more or less.
well, for both, you might be surprised, So just say, okay, for example, if your footwear, your footwear must be something that covers the entire foot.
So no slippers,
no sandals, no Crocs, nothing of that nature. No.
Okay.
And for your clothing, we expect that you will have on anything that has sleeve. We do not allow anything that is sleeveless, and so on. So that is twofold. It covers your body properly, and two, we issue the visitor's vest.
Okay.
So you have to look at, despite the fact that these vests are laundried daily, you still have to consider the hygiene.
Yes, because different individuals may use them. Yeah.
So we do not allow persons to come into the port with sleeveless or armless, as you may want to refer to it too. However, to the public, a PPE vest, so like for the custom brokers and so on, the port has an established color code for them that they're aware of. Yeah, but the visitors, they have their vest and it will state visitor on it, so you know that they're here.
And that is given to you on, of course, when you come to that.
So it's part of the entry process. It's part of the entrance process.
But you make your fees payment and so forth, then that
so we'll go through that when you're ready.
All right. We drew for a break. A couple of goes on. So we drew for a break. Let's take it. When we come back, we continue with today's conversation. It's To The Point, Classic Radio GBN TV. We'll be right back. Don't touch your dial, folks. Stay with us here on Classic Radio GBN TV. We'll be right back.
Invest with confidence.
Come one, come all, it's your time to rise. A new chance to make your future bright. You can start with 500, you see, and watch your money grow securely. No more saving small and waiting long. Now you can invest and feel strong. Safe returns you can trust. ECCU retail bond for all of us. Invest a little, grow a lot. Financial freedom starts with what you got. Invest a little, grow a lot. Financial freedom starts with what you got.
For more information, visit ECCURetailBond.com. Opportunity ends in 21st November 2025.
Grenada Get Ready, GBN, the Ministry of Education, and the Division of Culture proudly presents Christmas Harmony 1.0, the inaugural primary school carol singing competition. Join us on Friday, December the 5th at 1 p.m. at the Grenada Trade Center. Magical voices, festive spirit, and exciting competition await. Tickets, adults $10, children $5. Christmas Harmony 1.0, no better place to be. Be there.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, of course, our viewers. So, for our various social media platforms, also, let me say good morning to you and welcome back. With me this morning, we have, of course, Corporal Lawrence Honoré with us this morning.
Not yet, Corporal. Maybe you're putting something on me.
I put something else. Constable.
I say you're putting something on me.
My bad. Yeah. Constable, my bad, sir. My bad. I always get some of them mixed up with the Corporal and Constable for some reason. Hope we get it right. So nobody try to just leave that out, you know. But it's not intentional. We want to focus a wee bit on the clearance of goods and you know, there's always that conversation around this time of the year. We hear banned items, you know, and for some reason you hear folks still go to the option of still importing them.
Yes.
But let's talk about, we want to talk about this in two folds a wee bit. The clearance of goods. Talk to me about the procedure that individuals have to go through when in terms of going out to clear their goods at the port.
Okay. The first thing you want to be mindful of is your dress code, which we have already mentioned. So that taken care of, you have your documentation and your journey to the port. When you get to the port, you visit the cashier's window where you'll obtain the pass receipt for entry to the port. From that window, you'll move over to the security officer's window. The security officer now will do an assessment to ensure that you have legitimate business and you qualify for entry into the port. Once that the officer is satisfied, the officer will then proceed to take your information. They may ask you one or two questions just for the purpose of verification, and we expect that you will cooperate and answer these questions honestly.
Okay.
Right. And once that has done, the officer will invite you now to enter the port. Once you enter the turnstile and you get into the port, you will remain at that area where they will fit you with a PPE vest, a reflective vest, and then they will direct you to the shed where your item is located. When you get to the shed, you visit first the port authority officer on duty. He will examine your documents and give you an indication as to which part of the shed your item is located, and also that he will put the port charges on your document, because the port charges now is different from the customs charges. So once you have that, you will cause your item to be brought to the designated area for the customs inspection. And the customs officer will then inspect those items and place a value amount on your document. From that value amount, now you're ready to make your payment. So you'll revisit the cashier. And I want to be clear with persons that when you go back to the cashier this time, you're making two payments. So you're visiting two cashiers. One payment is to the Grenada Ports Authority. Usually it's the tailgating, which encompasses the storage of the item. And the second payment is to the Customs and Excise Department, which is based on the value of your goods, the percentage that you write. When you're finished, you return to the port officer that you visit in the area where your items are, and you resubmit the documents with the receipts to him. He will then inspect it. Once he's satisfied that everything is paid and everything is as it's supposed to be, he will go ahead and issue you what you call an exit pass. and that is a document that you will then sign on, and the exit pass now is what gives you the authority to remove the item from the port. So in the case of persons who have someone coming with them to collect the item for,
maybe a truck or
some persons come with their private vehicle, or they have someone assist them with a private vehicle. In that case, you will have to obtain a pass for the person and that vehicle.
Okay.
And what you'll want to do is that you'll have the person use the parking facility on the outside and wait until you finish clearing. But what you want to take from them when you go in to clear the item, you want to have some form of accepted ID from them, maybe the NIS card or the voter's registration card. I do not suggest taking the driver's license, because they themselves would require to present the driver's license when entering the port.
Okay.
For
make sure it's valid also.
Right. Yes. So you'll take probably the NIS card or the voter's registration card with you.
Yes.
Because once you clear in your item, you must give the information of the person who will be removing the item from the port.
Okay.
That's part of the safety requirements and security requirements that we have instituted, so that we try and make sure that we have everything covered, so that persons do not lose items.
I mean, it sounds, for some individuals listening, they think it's a complicated procedure.
No.
But it's not. Once you go along it in the format that you stipulated, it's pretty easy.
It's pretty easy. Yeah.
And another question, because sometimes I see it's of concern to individuals. Let's do a simple procedure. Then we go into clear a barrel, but they want to carry a friend, a family member, and so forth to them, and then they get to the gate, and you realize there's a problem there.
Yes.
Explain that a wee bit.
Well, as it is, the protocol of the port allows one person per document.
One person per document.
Yeah, one person per document. However, at the gate, we can give consideration to allowing a second person based on the nature of the circumstances.
Maybe an elderly person or something.
Yes, in some cases, or in some cases, the person may have one document, but when you look at the document, you realize that this person's coming to claim maybe 8 barrels or so. Yeah, so in that case, that person might need a little bit of help. So based on that, we probably can give consideration. It's not guaranteed, so I don't want any person to hold me to that and say it's not a guarantee, it's a consideration.
Yeah.
Okay, and so we can give consideration to that. In the case of children, we do not allow children in the port for these purposes. So children under the age of 13, we do not permit them in.
Okay, on the age of 13. All right. Even though they are accompanied by a parent.
Even though they are accompanied by a parent.
Can't say, well, I have nobody to leave my child on some car.
Not be permitted.
All right. I'm glad you were able to clear that up a wee bit, because sometimes you see people go through that issue where they feel they want to carry someone with them. To, let's go with me to clear whatever I have to clear. That's not permitted.
No, that's something that's
on the port. All right. Now, I mentioned the issue of banned items, and sometimes for some reasons, people have the issue of still wanting to import them. I'm assuming there are rules that governs that.
Yes, of course.
So talk to me in relation to that.
Well, banned items falls under the Customs and Excise Act, so probably a customs officer can really elaborate on that for you. But banned items mean that items that are not permitted into the state.
Yeah.
Right? That's basically what it means. Some people may be a bit confused as they call something banned and they may see it in the state. Now, there are banned items and there are restricted items.
Okay.
Restricted items mean that you must meet certain criteria in order to bring it into the state. Okay, banned means it's not at all.
It's not allowed.
Not allowed at all.
Yeah, because you may hear someone say, well, I brought this in and it was confiscated at the port for whatever reason. They think, well, I'm seeing Mr. Jack using it or Mr. John using it, but mine was taken away.
Yeah, in some cases, and I don't want to hold anyone or speculate on it, but something that is banned and you see it in the state, most likely they smuggle it in.
Yeah.
You know, and again, that's part of the safety standard that we try to implement to prevent these things. Yeah.
All right. You know, folks will always find some way of getting around the system.
They try.
Because I know, you know, usually we call those explosives of little bombs, and I'm hearing loads of them going off already.
They start going off already.
Wow. And I know that is an item that should not be imported in.
No,
you understand? I'm been hearing at nights, especially in my neighborhood. I'm hearing guys having these things going off. Okay. You know, so I'm wondering how is it been able to get on island still?
Well, what I can tell you is that we do try our best, and we understand the importance of security, and we understand the dangers of those things. So we do try our very best to, you know, as well, I can say stop, you know, but for most part to minimize those things from getting here. But apparently some persons, they put themselves way out to make sure that we don't succeed.
All right,
but we persistent.
And as I said, folks always find some way of getting around the system. Find some way of getting around the system. We spoke briefly about it in a previous segment. Has there been any way in which have there been any other amendments taking place lately, or legislation that runs the operations on the board that we need to know about?
Not to my knowledge at this time. Just a few implementations are basically pertaining to safety of persons using the facility.
All right. Now, I want you to offer some advice this morning, especially for conducting business during the peak period. Though we know the Christmas season is approaching, not only approaching, it's primarily on us already.
Yeah.
You understand? And folks, you know, to prevent the delays and so forth that folks may experience from time to time, what are some of the advice would you like to throw, especially to our listeners and viewers this morning, in relation to the procedure that they could follow to kind of minimize the delay? We know it's a peak period, as you would say.
Well, barring any hindrance, the process on the port can take you probably about 20 minutes, 30 minutes pushing it.
Based on your understanding.
But once you have a fairly good understanding of it and you have everything in place.
Yes.
But in the peak period, you know that we have a greater volume of persons and so on. So for that period, what my advice is for you to give yourself time.
Yeah.
That is really important, because you do not expect that the same 30 minutes will work for you when you have all these people.
You have a line of 100.
So, you know, you give yourself time and, you know, come with a mind of patience. Yeah, because you'll need that as well to clear your item. And compliance. You know, yes, we understand everybody wants to get the item, and that is why we're there to try and facilitate by providing the service. We must do it in a safe and secure manner and environment, which we try to maintain, and we are all part of that. You know, it's not just for the security officer or the customs officer. Every person that uses the port is part of that process, because together we all can make things happen the way it's supposed to. So if they come and they're compliant and they understand the process and so on, it makes things a lot easier for all of us at the end of the day, so that everybody can go home happy.
I mean, we're looking at, you know, the especially the custom officers. I mean, their work will be stretched a whole lot.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
When it's not the peak time of the year, when they could do something, as you said, in 20 minutes get you moving.
Yes.
And now they have with 50 and 60 people to deal with at one time.
Yes.
It's going to be stretched a wee bit. So you got to expect delays.
And so one of the things that we also have to be mindful of when we speak of the delay, because of the volume of persons that we have coming, sometimes we have to stop the line.
Okay.
To give persons who are inside an opportunity to clear through, and then to let out some, and then we let in some. Because if we go to permit all these persons in the port at the same time, it's just pure chaos.
They could be individual with alternative,
and that in itself as well. So we have to be. Sometimes we have to take that step. But what we do is try to ensure that all persons that come, they have an opportunity to clear the item. And as the Port Authority see it fit, as we get closer to Christmas, they usually would give consideration to extended hours, so that we can continue to help.
So a bit of tweaking the times.
Yes.
All right. So we drew for a break again. Let's take our second break in the program this morning. We come back, we continue the conversation. Stay with us, folks. To the Point Classic Radio, GBN TV. We'll be right back after the break. Don't touch your dial, folks. Stay with us. Don't touch your dial.
This Christmas, GBN is lighting up Grenada. From November the 10th to December the 24th, your festive season starts right here with GBN's Christmas Catalog 2025. Start your mornings with mid-morning magic. Weekdays 10 to 12, live fun, giveaways, and Christmas cheer every day. On Friday, December the 5th, the school's Christmas challenge lights up the Trade Center. 15 schools, 1 trophy, and the voices filled with holiday joy. Then on Saturday, December the 20th, it's Christmas in Kamahan. Live music, food, shopping, toy giveaway, and the grand tree lighting ceremony. And on Monday, December the 22nd, join GBN's Caroling in the City, spreading Christmas cheer all through St. George's. Every Sunday from 5 to 7, enjoy Yuletide Sundays with classic Christmas tunes and prices galore. And from December the 1st, K105's Lights of Christmas. Guess that hidden cash and win. So whether you're singing, shopping, or celebrating, do it with GBN. Connecting with you this Christmas. Our partners making it possible: Flow, Ace Hardware, Foodland Supermarket, Grenada Duty Free, Answer Coating, Banfields, and Koyawa Beach Resort. GBN's Christmas Catalog, connecting you this season.
Ladies and gentlemen, this Saturday, November 22nd, from 7 p.m. is the semi-finals of the 15th edition of the Wagiti Carib Super Knockout Football Tournament. Come witness the clash of the Titans. Game 1, Caribbean National St. John Sports versus the defending champions, Paradise FC International. And in Game 2, Hurricanes SC versus FC Camahorn. Who will make it to the grand final? All games are at the Kirani James Athletic Stadium. Then after the games, we welcome from Jamaica, Amani. Amani. And from Grenada, Dash, Khalifa, Water Daddies, Booba, and the Octane Band. Admission $50 main stand, $40 bleachers. The 15th annual Wagiti Carib Super Knockout is on. Don't miss a game.
This holiday season,
Welcome back once again to our listeners. Welcome back our viewers. Of course, we're talking this morning here, of course, road procedures and security. We, of course, spoke a whole lot about the security, but we're going to delve a little bit more in the procedures that individuals should actually follow. I want to ask you basically, there's that option that presents itself now. I came to the port. I took care. I was able to go in. Presented my documentation. I have gone through the entire process. I was now given that clearance to exit. Mm-hmm. I probably need a truck, or do I may have someone waiting outside? Talk to me about that process between them now. What's the proper way that should be disseminated?
Okay. Well, we have trucks that daily provide trucking service at the port, and these persons normally outside at the entrance of the port area. However, if you're coming with your personal transport, once you have cleared your item and you've been issued the exit pass, which now gives you the authority to remove the item, you traverse the port and get to the security at the entrance gate, and you present the pass to the officer with the receipt for the vehicle and the person that is coming to collect the item. Okay. So that now gives the officer an indication that you're ready. Okay. And in so doing, the officer will now go ahead and allow that person, once they meet the requirement as well, because it's the same requirement as a person and a vehicle. Okay. Because some people come and Yes, they may meet the requirement, but the vehicle is not in proper condition.
So that is also a
yes,
bit of a concern
yes,
there.
because we are officers of the law, and we have that jurisdiction to even the traffic laws to enforce it.
Okay.
Yes, so your vehicle must be in proper working condition and represent what is stated in the law. If not, the officer at his discretion, probably in some cases, the law may not give you that discretion to use. You may have to just take decisive action. So we're hoping that when you come and you're well prepared.
Yeah.
Right. So once that is the case, the officer will go ahead and process you. Again, they will take the necessary information from you and direct you to the shed where the item is located, so that you can pick it up. Once you pick up that item and it's in your vehicle, when you get back to the exit gate, you'll now present the exit pass to the officer, and the officer will ask you to make available the items in the vehicle for inspection. And what the officer does at that time is to carry out an inspection to ensure that what you have cleared, as stated on the exit pass, is what is being carried out in the vehicle.
Okay.
So that minimizes the risk of persons losing their stuff, whether by accident or by deliberate action.
Okay.
That checkpoint is to ensure that we minimize the risk of that. Yeah.
All right. That is also very important. What something you mentioned that I've never put into thought before is the option of vehicles being inappropriate at the port.
Yeah.
And it could be, of course, someone could say, the officer could tell you, well, that vehicle would not be permitted for various reasons.
Yes.
Reasons like maybe the condition or the load that it may has to carry out.
Even that in itself.
You understand? It may not be appropriate in terms of having it overhanging and stuff like that.
Yes.
Could be an issue. The condition of the vehicle, maybe bad tires.
Yeah.
It could be an issue also.
Even in cases where persons come in with a vehicle that is proper and they load the vehicle, but it's not properly secured, we also can ensure that
you may tell them, but you may not be able to leave because of the fact that and your stuff could fall off and stuff like that.
Yeah, and in the case of private vehicles, I want to mention this. We see from time to time persons come, they may have some boxes, and they try to fit the boxes at the back of the vehicle, and they may not be able to fit all of them. So what they do, they put on the front seat. Now, you have to understand that private vehicle is not a cargo vehicle, first and foremost. And they put it on the front seat, and it is of a height that obstruct their vision.
So even at the back, though, they can use the rear mirror.
They can use the rear mirror, right. So these are things that you have to be mindful of as well, because the officer on duty, noticing that, will take action to have you rectified. Okay. Yeah, so these are things to consider as well.
All right. I mean, I'm happy that you're sharing that information with our listening and viewing audience this morning, because there are folks who may never have given that thought before. Yeah. Well, I have my own car. I feel like
you can do what you want. No, there are laws. Yes.
But sometimes the obstructions that you happen to from in the back of you, you feel that it's okay. Not always you could just drive looking forward, right?
No. Yeah.
Sometimes you need those review mirrors to watch, and if there's an obstruction, could be it's not nice at all.
Yes, of course. It's a danger to the public.
Exactly.
And probably to yourself.
To yourself also. Yeah. To yourself, because sometimes you just may know what's in the back.
Or to the side of you.
Or to the side of you. That's important. Now, sometimes folks may not understand that, the workings of the port per se. And folks may think, if I'm right, there are basically 3 sections on the port, if I'm right about that?
Yes, 3 operations takes place at the port.
3 operations. Explain that a wee bit for me.
Okay, we have the international operation, where we facilitate those international ships and so on that come in. And we have the CARICOM operation, which normally facilitates those vessels that come from Trinidad or the Caribbean islands that comes in from time to time, mostly Trinidad, but we do have them coming from other Caribbean islands from time to time. And then we have the CARICO operation, which is basically to put it for want of a better word, a free operation. Meaning that when you come to the Carriacou operation, your main responsibility is you stop at the checkpoint and you give the officer an indication that you're going to the Carriacou vessel.
Okay.
And once you do that and the officer is satisfied that you're honest, then he will allow you to proceed. Right. However, there are persons who, having knowledge of the port operations, they sometimes come and try to deceive the officer. All right. Deceiving a public officer is an offense.
It's an offense.
And so what they do, they try to use that area to get into other areas of the port, which now also becomes an offense because then you're not authorized to be there, so you're trespassing. Right. For one, you're trespassing.
Yes.
And that in itself is also a criminal offense. So we want persons to come to the port and be honest with themselves and what they're doing. Generally, for most persons coming to clear items at the port, it only costs you $1 for the entry, and there's a reason for that. It's something that will safeguard you in the event if something unfortunate should happen. Right, so that's it. So we want persons to understand that. We do not want you to violate the laws of the port or the land of Grenada itself.
Yeah. A question I want to ask just for clarification purposes. You mentioned folks using the port for use for boats that go into Carriacou and stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming you're probably going to be having goods and services sent to Carriacou.
Yes, we do.
Does the PPE, of course, required for ports using that particular port also?
No, as I mentioned, that area is cordoned off, mm-hmm. and is virtually as if you're operating in Grenada, because Carriacou is part of us. Yeah. So it's basically, as I said, a free area. The only reason why you have to give the officer an indication, because remember, it's still a restricted area that we're operating in. It's just that section is set aside for Carriacou operation. So we still have to have some control.
Right. I thought the procedure with the PP was across the board.
Not for the Carriacou operation.
Not for the Carriacou operation.
Not for the Carriacou operation.
Traffic conditions along, especially the port highway and stuff, is always a form of concern.
Yes.
And I'm sure of course, the Port Authority and everybody is also concerned. Is there anything you may want to stipulate to our listeners and viewers this morning in terms of procedures there?
Well, the Port Highway is one of the busiest areas of the day, 8 to 4. Yeah. Persons traversing, persons coming to do business and so on. And there are little shops and restaurants, if you may, that serve the public, and persons come to try and get something to eat. But what we have, the challenge is the indiscriminate parking that obstruct the traffic from flowing. So persons come and they just park and they give no regard to the other road users. And so that is a great challenge for us. Well, we try our best to assist the traffic department with that. However, our main focus is the port itself, notwithstanding that the port highway, is part of our environment.
Yes. So
we do try and assist that area. But we want to ask persons that when they come to the port, for whatever reason, if they're using the port highway, please, be mindful that it's a road that persons use. There's a high volume of traffic coming through there, and we want you to try and ensure that when you occupy a parking space, for whatever reason it may be, that you're not obstructing any other person.
Just be considerate.
Yeah, yes. And persons might come and park in a particular manner, and to them they might think that they're safe there. However, we have large motor vehicles coming, those trucks with 40-foot containers and so on. When they have to make a turn in or out of the port, they have to go wide.
Yeah.
So even if you may seem that you're off the road to some degree, and you look and you see there's enough room for vehicles to go both ways, but when a 40-foot container comes there and you're parked in those areas, you're creating a difficulty for that driver.
Yeah.
All right. So, and if persons, sometimes they may not be aware, and that's why it's always good to educate yourself. So you may seem that you're in a good place, but then you come to realize that the truck can't pass.
Maybe for regular traffic, you may think, well,
it's fine.
Parking is fine for the traffic moving back and forth. And okay.
Yeah, and within the framework of the law, there is a charge which states that you can be parked in a manner that is likely to cause an obstruction. So you're not actually causing an obstruction, but you being there, when a trailer truck comes, you're obstructing the traffic. Yes. So sometimes people are not aware of these things. So it's good to educate yourself on those things as well. And be courteous and considerate to persons.
Yeah. I mean, folks sometimes are using the business establishments on the other side. They think, well, I want to get something to eat, or maybe I get something to drink. And I could just stop there. And sometimes you may think you're spending a minute or two and you're there for 15.
That's right.
You may consider say, I'm going to stop for a minute, but for some reason you're there for 15 to 20 minutes at a time. So we consider it fine alternative parking somewhere else. Come walk or travel somewhere other than to get to there without having to park on the side.
And then the other thing is directly opposite the port, persons may notice that we have trucks there. These are persons who provide trucking service to the port.
And I guess they are given permission to park there?
Yes. That's the property of the Grenada Ports Authority.
Okay.
But what we do sometimes, persons come with their private vehicle, and these trucks are there, and they just pull up in front of the trucks, lock their vehicle, and go on about their business. And these truckmen, they want to come out to get their going, and they can't move. So that again is something that we want to ask persons to be considerate.
Is there ever been the consideration, especially in collaboration with the Port Authority, of course, the traffic department, in terms of hiking the appearance of police and in terms of the way of controlling the traffic there, especially around this time of the year? People will be wanting to use the port more and feel, well, I have to come there with my personal vehicle, so I'm going to need back. And we know the parking is already limited as it stands. Have there ever been any consideration maybe having more police officers traversing the area that will kind of eliminate individual wanting to, stop there and just park and obstruct? Any consideration have been given to that, especially around this time of the year?
Well, the officer in charge of my department, he is well aware of the circumstances there, the situation. The officer in charge of the traffic department is also aware. So hence the reason why we are encouraged from time to time to step outside of the gate and assist with the traffic. And then from time to time you would see traffic officers probably passing by on their motorcycles and so on and helping to ease the traffic. So we do try and help the situation.
All right, we drew for a break once again. Will be our final break for the program this morning. When we return, we're of course going to give our listeners and viewers, there may be a question or two they would like to ask in terms of the conversation we're having this morning. Give you the opportunity to ask a question or two. Let's take the break, and when we come back, stay with us, folks. Don't touch it out.
When you need your
This holiday season, let the Monica Benoit Wonderland of Lights lead the way to Christmas at the Point. Starting November 30th, the Quarantine Point Recreational Park transforms into a glowing wonderland with dazzling light displays that are the true showstoppers of the season. Take a magical tuk-tuk tunnel ride through twinkling arches. Explore Santa's grotto, cozy up with a picnic blanket under the stars, and savor delicious eats from local vendors. Entry is just $5 for walk-ins, $10 per carload, and $20 for premium carload parking. Plus, grab a cozy picnic blanket for only $40 and enjoy the season in style. Special pricing applies for New Year's Eve. Visit our Instagram or Facebook pages at Rotary Club of Grenada Events for more details. It's holiday fun for the entire family every night from 5 p.m. till midnight, and it all supports the charitable work of the Rotary Club of Grenada. Christmas at the Point. When the sun sets, the wonder begins. Mark your calendars. It all begins November 30th.
Grenada Get Ready, GBN, the Ministry of Education, and the Division of Culture proudly presents Christmas Harmony 1.0, the inaugural primary school carol singing competition. Join us on Friday, December the 5th at 1 p.m. at the Grenada Trade Center. Magical voices, festive spirit, and exciting competition await. Tickets, adults $10, children $5. Christmas Harmony 1.0. No better place to be. Be there.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. Once again, the number 435-2041. We have approximately about 7 minutes or so left on today's program. I certainly heard you have heard the conversation we've been having all morning long. We reference to, of course, the procedures of the port. You may have some concerns about certain procedures that you may have. You may want to ask a question or two to the officer in relation, so feel free to do so. 435-2041. You have the WhatsApp 435-2041. We also have the direct line that you can call in and ask a question or two in reference to what we've been speaking about. You probably have some procedure that you may want to take care of the port. Even you probably may have missed part of the conversation we had this morning, but you have a question along those lines, feel free to do so. 435-2041. Corporal Lawrence, once again, we spoke a lot in terms of what will take place at the port. Anything that you want to mention that we may have not mentioned that we probably slipped on saying this morning that you want to just highlight? We still have a few more minutes left on the program.
Well, all in all, I would like to take the opportunity to thank the public.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you, for most part, the public, they are very cooperative. And but the process at the port usually runs pretty smooth.
Yeah.
So I would really like to thank the public that when they come to the port that they adhere to the rules and regulations. And for the very few who may go against the grain, as you want to say sometimes, we just want you to get on board as well.
Yeah.
To make sure that we have things in a smooth manner.
Right. It's sometimes likely that folks, seem that we're not getting the calls yet. They seem that folks may understand a lot about the procedures that are taking place on the port, which is a good sign.
I would trust that it's the case. Yeah.
Which is a good sign that folks understand the procedures that are taking place on the port, and of course they know how things are going.
Yeah, something I want to also touch on is that sometimes persons come to the port and they clear maybe just one box, but the box probably have some size.
Yeah.
And they tell themselves, maybe they don't want to spend a little money to get a transport in or something. So they feel like they could raise it and go outside. That is something that we do not encourage at the port. Okay. If it's something small and manageable that you can walk through with, yes, that's fine. But these large items we do not encourage.
All right. Yeah. Once it's beyond a particular size.
Yes.
So probably if you're thinking, well, I could probably lift that and go outside.
Yeah, no.
All right.
And then again, you have to be mindful that the port is a restricted area. So when you come to the port to carry out your business, it is important that you remain in that area where your items are and conduct your business. You do not go wandering about the port.
Is it permitted to be someone wanting to go out and come back in constantly from the port? Is that permitted?
Well, once the need is a genuine need, we will facilitate, yes.
Okay.
But we don't want a person coming to do business in the port and every minute you just want to go and stand outside or you and come back in and stuff like that. It have to be something that you genuinely need to do.
Okay. You know, sometimes folks may feel, well, I'm going to go back on site for a few minutes and come back again because whatever.
In some cases, there are persons, sometimes they came with insufficient funds, not realizing they may have to pay
I guess
more.
Circumstances like that.
They have documents that is insufficient, that probably they're missing something or they have to get something corrected from the agent or so. You know, you have a genuine need to go and come back, you know. We're not going to hold you inside, but if it is a situation where we find you just traversing idly, you know, then we have to take steps to
All right. Well, we have approximately 2 minutes before 10 o'clock, and which I think it could be appropriate time for us to take a wrap for today. I want to thank you once again for being on the program and sharing information with our listening and viewing audience this morning. I know it's fruitful information, and especially it coincides nicely in the season that we are in right now.
Yes.
You know, so folks have a general idea in terms of when they visit the port, the procedures that they follow, to make life easier for themselves and, of course, other individuals on the port, alongside, of course, the custom officers and everybody else, you know, in terms of making life easier for everyone.
Yes.
All right. Anything in closing once again before we take a wrap?
Yeah, well, on behalf of the manager of the Grenada Post Authority and the Commissioner of Police, I'd like to extend our gratitude to the GBN and to you, GT, for continuing to provide a platform for us to disseminate information to the public. I truly believe that education is one of the fundamental things that will help us to have a better society.
Okay.
And if you're doing something and you're knowledgeable of what you're doing, I think half your work is done.
So true.
The next part of it is just having the right tools. You know, so I want to say again thank you to GBN, and I want to wish everyone a great Christmas season, a great and safe Christmas season. We want to ensure that we are violence-free and that we continue to honor what the season is about, not just the partying and the drinking and so on, but, you know, remember that Christ died for us, and this season is what represents that sacrifice. So
okay, great.
We thank you very much.
Thank you also, sir, and best wishes also for the rest of the season to come.
Thank you very much.
Hey, folks, that's what we're going to take a wrap for today's edition of To The Point. Once again, join me tomorrow for another edition. Until then, folks, have a good one. That's where we say goodbye.